The Forgotten Distress, the mining colony's last stand. The mining colony of Tharsis 7 hung in the darkness like a dying ember. Commander Sella pressed her three-fingered hand against the cold viewport, watching another explosion blossom across the eastern sector. The Velkari were a peaceful species, their gray skin and large black eyes designed for the dim light of their homeworld. They had never been warriors. Mining asteroids and trading rare minerals was their contribution to the galactic community. Violence was something they read about in history texts, not something they lived through, until today. Sella's communications officer, a young male named Torvin, called out from his station. His voice cracked with fear. "Commander, the Kryn fleet has destroyed the last defense platform. We have nothing left to stop them." Through the viewport, Sella could see them clearly now. 15 Kryn warships, their hulls painted with the bone-white markings of the Death Spiral clan. The Kryn were raiders, a species that had rejected the Galactic Union's laws decades ago. They were tall, muscular beings covered in dark scales, with eyes that glowed red in the darkness. They took what they wanted and killed anyone who resisted. For months, colonies along the frontier had been disappearing. Now, Tharsis 7 was their latest target. The mining colony held 3,000 Velkari workers and their families. Sella had sent distress calls to the Galactic Union Defense Forces, but the nearest patrol was 6 days away. The Kryn would breach their final shields in less than an hour. She had failed her people. Torvin looked up at her, his large eyes reflecting the emergency lights. "Commander, there is one more option. The old emergency protocols from the ancient wars. We could broadcast on the forbidden frequencies." Sella felt a chill run through her body. The forbidden frequencies were banned by galactic law. They reached into the dark zones, the sectors of space marked as dead territory on every star chart. Those regions had been empty for over 3 centuries, ever since humanity vanished from galactic affairs. The stories said humans had destroyed themselves in civil war. Others claimed they had ascended to a higher plane of existence. Most people believed they were simply extinct, but the old protocols remained, relics from a time when humans had been the galaxy's protectors. Before the betrayal, before the wars, before everything fell apart. "Do it," Sela ordered. "Send the signal on all forbidden channels. Include our coordinates and situation. If anyone is listening, they need to know we are about to die." Torvin's fingers danced across his console. The message went out into the void, a desperate scream into the darkness. Sella did not believe anyone would answer. The humans were gone. They had been gone for longer than she had been alive. But she had to try something, anything, to save her people. What Sella did not know was that humanity had never truly left. They had only been watching, waiting, remembering. The listening post deep in the void's edge sector, a small station drifted in perpetual silence. Outpost Sentinel-9 had been operational for 287 years, maintained by automated systems and a rotating crew of 3. The station's sole purpose was to monitor the old channels, to listen for any signal that might indicate the galaxy still needed humanity's help. For nearly 3 centuries, there had been nothing but static. Lieutenant Sarah Morrison sat at the monitoring station, drinking coffee from a thermal container. Her shift had another 4 hours to go, and she expected it to be as boring as every other shift she had pulled in the 2 years since her assignment here. Sentinel-9 was where the Terran Defense Force sent officers who had disappointed their superiors. Morrison had questioned orders during a training exercise, suggesting a better tactical approach than the one outlined in the manual. Her reward was exile to the loneliest posting in human space. She was reviewing supply reports when the console erupted with alarm signals. Morrison dropped her coffee, the container floating away in the station's low gravity as she grabbed the edge of her workstation. The main display showed signal analysis scrolling faster than she could read. Her heart hammered in her chest as she realized what she was seeing, a distress call, on the forbidden frequencies, coming from outside human space. Morrison's hands shook as she initiated the recording protocols. The message was clear despite the distance. A Velkari mining colony under attack. 3,000 civilians. Shields failing. No help available. The timestamp showed the signal was only 17 minutes old. "Holy Mother of God," Morrison whispered. She slapped the emergency communication panel. "Sentinel-9 to Fleet Command. Priority Alpha. We have a genuine distress call from alien civilians. Repeat, this is not a drill." The response came within seconds. Admiral Helena Cross appeared on the screen, her silver hair pulled back severely, her dark eyes sharp and focused. She had been one of humanity's greatest military minds even before the withdrawal. Now she commanded the Vanguard fleet, the ships that protected humanity's borders and watched the galaxy from the shadows. "Lieutenant Morrison, I need you to be absolutely certain. You understand the implications of what you are reporting." Morrison nodded, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. "Yes, Admiral. The signal is authentic. 3,000 civilians about to be massacred by raiders. They sent the call on our old emergency channels. Someone remembered we used to answer these calls, ma'am." Admiral Cross was silent for a long moment. Morrison knew what she was thinking. The isolation protocols had been in place since 2387. After the Great Betrayal, when humanity's supposed allies had turned on Earth's colonies, humanity had withdrawn behind its borders. No contact with alien species. No involvement in galactic affairs. Let the galaxy burn if it wanted to. Humanity would protect its own and nothing more. But those protocols had been written by people driven by pain and anger. They had been written by a generation that felt betrayed and abandoned. Morrison had studied the history. She knew that before the withdrawal, humanity had been the galaxy's greatest defenders. Humans had died by the millions protecting alien worlds, asking nothing in return except friendship and cooperation. The galaxy had repaid them with treachery. "Morrison, keep monitoring that signal," Admiral Cross said finally. "I am authorizing a reconnaissance mission. If the situation is as you describe, we may need to reconsider our position. The Vanguard fleet will jump to those coordinates within the hour." The screen went dark. Morrison sat back in her chair, her mind reeling. She had just started something that could change everything. For 300 years, humanity had been ghosts in the darkness. Now they were about to remind the galaxy what happens when you wake sleeping predators. The Vanguard Awakens Captain Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of the TDS Indomitable, watching his crew prepare for combat operations. The Indomitable was a Nightfall-class destroyer, one of 20 vessels in the Vanguard fleet. These ships had been built during the early years of the withdrawal, designed to operate in complete silence, to strike without warning, to defend humanity's borders against any threat. They were also built to be terrifying. Human military doctrine had evolved significantly during the 3 centuries of isolation. Without alien technology to trade for, humanity had been forced to innovate. The results were ships that moved faster, hit harder, and survived longer than anything else in known space. The Indomitable carried weapons that could crack planets, armor that could withstand solar flares, and a crew trained to fight in conditions that would kill most other species. Chen was 42 years old, a career officer who had spent his entire adult life in the Defense Force. He had never met an alien. His grandparents had back before the withdrawal, but they rarely spoke about those times. The pain was still too fresh, even after so many generations. His executive officer, Commander Rachel Torres, approached with a data pad. She was younger than Chen, only 30, but she had earned her position through exceptional tactical skill. Her family had lost everything during the betrayal. Her great-grandfather had been killed defending a Velkari colony from pirates, only to have the Galactic Union blame humanity for the violence afterward. "Captain, we have the full briefing from Admiral Cross. The colony is Tharsis 7, population 3,000 Velkari civilians. They are under attack by Kryn raiders, estimated 15 warships. The Velkari have no military capabilities. Their shields will fail in approximately 40 minutes. Chen studied the tactical display. The Vanguard fleet consisted of 4 destroyers, 6 frigates, and 10 corvettes. Against 15 Kryn warships, the numbers were close. But Chen knew something the Kryn did not. Humanity had spent 300 years preparing for the day when someone might threaten them again. The galaxy had forgotten what humans were capable of. The Kryn were about to receive a violent education. Signal the fleet, Chen ordered. We jump in 30 seconds. Full combat protocols. I want weapons hot and shields at maximum the moment we emerge. Rules of engagement are clear. Any vessel that fires on civilians is a valid target. We are not here to ask questions. We are here to save lives. Torres nodded sharply. Aye, Captain. All ships report ready. The fleet is yours. Chen felt the familiar sensation of a jump drive engaging. Reality twisted around the ship, dimensions folding in ways that human mathematics had only recently learned to manipulate. For a moment that lasted forever and no time at all, the Indomitable existed everywhere and nowhere. Then they were in normal space again, and the battle began. Thunder in the darkness, the Vanguard fleet emerged from jump space in perfect formation, appearing in the space between the Kryn raiders and the dying mining colony. On Tharsis 7, Sela watched through the viewport as 20 human warships materialized from nothing. They were beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. Sleek black hulls that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, weapons arrays that glowed with barely contained energy, and moving with a precision that spoke of absolute discipline and deadly purpose. The Kryn fleet reacted immediately, turning their weapons toward these new arrivals. The lead Kryn warship, a massive battlecruiser called the Blood Talon, opened communications. The Kryn commander appeared on every screen, his scaled face twisted with fury. Unknown vessels, you have entered a combat zone. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. This colony is claimed by the Death Spiral clan. Your interference will not be tolerated. Captain Chen's response was broadcast across all frequencies, his voice calm and cold as deep space. This is Captain Marcus Chen of the Terran defense ship Indomitable. You are attacking civilians in violation of every law of civilized warfare. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. This is your only warning. The Kryn commander laughed, a harsh sound that made Sela's skin crawl even through the transmission. Terran, the humans are extinct, fool. Whatever species you represent, you have made a fatal mistake. We outnumber you. We will destroy your ships and add your wreckage to our trophies. Chen's expression did not change. You were warned. All ships weapons free. Show them what we are. The Indomitable's main railguns fired first. Humanity had abandoned energy weapons decades ago in favor of kinetic kill vehicles. The railguns launched projectiles the size of cargo containers at significant fractions of light speed. When they struck the Blood Talon's shields, the barrier shattered like glass. The second volley punched through the cruiser's armor and tore through its engine core. The ship exploded in a brilliant flash that lit up the darkness. The battle lasted 7 minutes. The Kryn had numbers, but the humans had 300 years of innovation and a fury that had been building since the betrayal. The human ships moved through the Kryn formation like sharks through a school of fish. Their weapons never missed. Their shields absorbed incoming fire and held. And when Kryn ships tried to retreat, human corvettes blocked their escape. Routes with precision jumps that should have been impossible. Commander Sela watched in absolute shock as the species the galaxy believed extinct systematically destroyed, one of the most feared raider clans in known space. The humans fought with a savage efficiency that made the Kryn look like children playing with toys. There was no hesitation, no mercy for those who had threatened civilians, only ruthless, overwhelming violence delivered with surgical precision. When the last Kryn ship fell silent, drifting as a dead hulk in space, the human fleet regrouped around Tharsis 7. Sela received a communication request from the Indomitable. Her hands trembled as she accepted it. Captain Chen appeared on her screen. He was not what she expected. The old stories painted humans as monsters, as violent beasts who solved every problem with weapons and aggression. But the man before her looked tired, almost sad. His eyes held the weight of terrible decisions made for good reasons. Commander Sela, I am Captain Marcus Chen. Your colony is safe. We have medical teams standing by if you need assistance. I apologize for the violence you witnessed, but those raiders gave us no choice. Sela found her voice, though it shook. You saved us. The humans returned. After all these years, you came when we called. Chen's expression became even more somber. We never truly left, Commander. We have been watching, waiting, hoping we would not be needed. But it seems the galaxy has not changed as much as we hoped. We should talk. There is much you need to understand about why we vanished, and much we need to learn about what has happened since we withdrew. As human medical ships approached the colony, Sela realized that everything was about to change. The humans had returned and the galaxy would never be the same again. For better or worse, The Deathworlders were back. The price of isolation, the aftermath of thunder, the medical bay aboard the TDS Indomitable was unlike anything Commander Sella had ever seen. The Velkari survivors who had been injured during the Kryn attack were being treated with technology that seemed almost magical. Human doctors moved between patients with calm efficiency, their healing equipment closing wounds in minutes that would have taken weeks to heal naturally. Sella watched as a young Velkari child, burned during the shield collapse, received treatment from a human medic named Dr. James Park. The child's mother held her hand, tears streaming down her gray face. Dr. Park spoke softly to them both, his translator device converting his words into Velkari. The burns will heal completely. She might have some scarring, but our regeneration therapy will minimize that. She's going to be fine. The mother looked up at the human doctor with such gratitude that Sela felt her own eyes water. "Thank you," the mother whispered. "Thank you for saving us. Thank you for coming when no one else would." Park smiled gently, though Sela could see the sadness behind it. "We're just glad we got here in time." Sela stood near the entrance watching the scene unfold. Captain Chen approached from behind, his footsteps deliberately loud so as not to startle her. She had learned that humans were natural ambush predators, capable of moving in complete silence when they chose. The fact that Chen announced his presence was a courtesy. "Your people are resilient," Chen said, standing beside her. "The medical team says most of the injuries are treatable. We'll have everyone stabilized within a few hours. Captain Chen, I must ask, why did you help us? Your species withdrew from galactic affairs 3 centuries ago. Every history text teaches that humans wanted nothing to do with the rest of the galaxy. Yet you came when we called. You risked your ships and your people for strangers." Chen was quiet for a long moment, his eyes focused on the child and her mother. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of centuries of pain. "Commander Sella, would you walk with me? There is something I need to show you, something you need to understand about why we left and why we came back." They left the medical bay and walked through the corridors of the Indomitable. The ship was massive, its interior a blend of military efficiency and surprising comfort. Sella noticed that the walls displayed artwork, paintings and photographs from Earth. Images of mountains and oceans, forests and cities, a world the galaxy had almost forgotten existed. Chen led her to a section of the ship that seemed older than the rest. The walls here were made of different materials, preserved rather than replaced. They entered a chamber that took Sella's breath away. It was a memorial hall, its walls covered with names. Thousands upon thousands of names carved into metal plates that gleamed under soft lighting. "This is the Hall of the Fallen," Chen said quietly. "These are the names of every human who died defending alien worlds during what we call the Protection Era. From 2087 to 2387, humanity served as the galaxy's shield. We fought pirates, slavers, and raiders. We defended colonies that couldn't defend themselves. We believed we were building a better galaxy, one where all species could live in peace and prosperity." Sella walked along the walls, reading names. "So many names? I did not know. Our history texts mention human military action, but they present it as aggression, as humanity seeking to dominate others through force." Chen's jaw tightened. "That is what they taught you. Let me tell you what actually happened. The truth of the great betrayal." They sat in a small observation room overlooking the stars. Chen pulled up holographic displays, historical records that humanity had preserved from the Protection Era. Sella watched as the images told a story her people had never been taught. In 2087, humanity achieved faster-than-light travel and encountered the Galactic Union. Chen began. "We were welcomed as junior members, primitive but promising. The older species taught us their ways, shared some of their technology. In return, they asked us to help maintain peace in the frontier regions. Humans were good at fighting, you see. Our world had made us strong, adaptable, and brave. We agreed eagerly. We wanted to prove ourselves worthy of galactic citizenship." The holographic displays showed young human soldiers, barely more than children, serving alongside alien forces. Sella saw humans defending Velkari mining operations from the same kind of raiders that had attacked Tharsis 7. She saw humans dying to protect species she recognized. Velkari, Torgathi, Silith, and dozens of others. For 300 years, we bled for the galaxy. Chen continued, his voice growing harder. We lost millions. Entire generations of our best and brightest died in battles that most species wouldn't even acknowledge were happening. The Galactic Union praised us publicly while using us as their shock troops privately. We were the soldiers they sent to die so their own people wouldn't have to. Sela felt sick. What happened in 2387? Chen's expression became cold, a look that reminded Sela that humans were predators when they chose to be. The Torgathi Empire decided it wanted Earth's outer colonies. They manufactured evidence that human settlers were committing atrocities against Torgathi civilians. The Galactic Union Council, including representatives from species we had died to protect, voted to sanction humanity. They authorized military action against our colonies. The holographic display showed ships with Galactic Union markings attacking human settlements. Sela watched civilians fleeing burning cities. She saw children pulled from their parents' arms. She saw mass graves. The Volcari Confederation, your people's government, voted in favor of the sanctions, Chen said, and Sela felt her stomach drop, along with 37 other species. Only 5 voted against, and they were minor powers with no military strength. We begged the council to investigate the Torgathi claims. We presented evidence of our innocence. We asked our friends, our allies, the people we had died for, to stand with us. And they didn't, Sela whispered, understanding flooding through her. No, they didn't. The Torgathi attacked our colonies, and the galaxy looked away. We lost 12 worlds in the first month, 4 billion human lives. We could have fought back. We had the military strength, but that would have meant war with the entire Galactic Union. So we made a different choice. We withdrew. We pulled every human from alien space. We sealed our borders, and we let the galaxy have what it wanted, a galaxy without humans. Chen turned off the holographic display. The observation room fell into silence, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's systems. Sela struggled to process what she had learned. Everything she had been taught about humanity was a lie. They weren't aggressive conquerors. They were defenders who had been betrayed by those they protected. Why did you come when I called? Sela asked again, her voice barely audible. After everything the galaxy did to you, why risk yourselves for us? Chen looked at her, and she saw something in his eyes that shocked her. Not hatred, not bitterness, but something that looked almost like hope. Because we remembered who we used to be. Because Admiral Cross asked us a question before we jumped here. She said, if we let civilians die because we're too busy nursing our wounds, are we any better than the species that betrayed us? And the answer was no, we're not. Humanity withdrew to protect ourselves, but we never stopped being the people who believed in protecting others. The hidden conspiracy of priority communication interrupted their conversation. Commander Torres appeared on the screen, her expression grim. Captain, you need to return to the bridge immediately. We've decrypted the Kryn ship's communication logs. What we found changes everything. Chen and Sela hurried to the bridge. The command center of the Indomitable was a marvel of human engineering. Holographic displays floating in mid-air. Officers working at stations that responded to thought commands through neural interfaces. Torres brought up the decrypted data on the main screen. Sir, the Kryn weren't acting independently. These raids across the frontier have been coordinated. Someone has been paying the Kryn clans to attack specific targets, all of them remote colonies with minimal defenses. The pattern is clear. They're trying to destabilize the frontier regions. Chen studied the data, his military mind analyzing the information rapidly. Who's paying them? Did you find the source? Torres hesitated. That's the problem, sir. The payment routing goes through multiple shell corporations and hidden accounts. But we managed to trace the initial transactions. The money is coming from the Torgathi Empire. The bridge went silent. Every officer turned to look at the screen. Sela felt her blood run cold. The Torgathi? But they are one of the most powerful members of the Galactic Union. Why would they sponsor pirate raids against frontier colonies? Because they're the same species that attacked humanity 300 years ago. Chen said quietly. And they're using the same playbook. Create chaos, blame the victims, swoop in as saviors. Commander Torres, what colonies have been hit? Torres pulled up a star chart. Red markers appeared across the frontier regions, each one representing a destroyed or damaged colony. Sela gasped as she recognized the pattern. Every target was near valuable resource deposits. Rare minerals, exotic elements, strategic locations for trade routes. They're clearing the frontier, Sela said, understanding dawning. They're using pirates to drive out the current inhabitants so they can claim the territory. And the Galactic Union isn't investigating because the Torgathi control the Security Council. Chen nodded grimly. It's the same strategy they used against us. Create a crisis, control the narrative, profit from the chaos. The difference is this time humanity knows what they're doing, and we're not going to let it happen again. Admiral Cross appeared on the main screen, her expression unreadable. Captain Chen, I've been reviewing the data your team transmitted. The implications are significant. If the Torgathi are behind these attacks, then the Galactic Union is either complicit or incompetent. Either way, the frontier colonies are on their own. With respect, Admiral, they don't have to be, Chen said. We're here. We have the capability to protect them. We could patrol the frontier, stop the raids, expose the Torgathi plot. That would mean abandoning the isolation protocols, Cross replied. That would mean engaging with the galactic community again. Are you prepared for what that means, Captain? The galaxy hasn't changed. The species that betrayed us are still in power. Getting involved again could put Earth at risk. Sayla stepped forward, her voice stronger than she felt. Admiral Cross, may I speak? Cross looked surprised but nodded. Proceed, Commander Sayla. I cannot undo what my people did 3 centuries ago. I cannot change the vote that the Velkari Confederation cast against humanity. But I can tell you what I saw today. I saw humans risk their lives to save strangers. I saw your doctors treat our wounded with the same care they would give their own people. I saw Captain Chen make the choice to help us even though his orders told him not to. The galaxy doesn't deserve humanity's help, but we need it, and maybe, just maybe, we can finally deserve it if you give us the chance to make things right. The choice that changed everything. Conference room aboard the Indomitable held representatives from across the Vanguard fleet. Captain Chen had called an emergency meeting to discuss their options. Around the table sat officers from every ship, each one a veteran of decades of service protecting humanity's borders. Admiral Cross attended via holographic projection from Fleet Command. We have 3 options, Chen began, displaying a tactical overview on the central hologram. Option 1, we return to human space and report what we found. Let the politicians decide what to do. Option 2, we stay in the frontier regions and conduct covert operations against the raiders, protect the colonies without revealing ourselves fully. Option 3, we go public. We announce humanity's return, expose the Torgathi conspiracy, and dare the Galactic Union to do something about it. Commander Torres spoke first. Option 1 is the safe choice, but it means abandoning the frontier colonies while bureaucrats debate. More people will die. Option 2 might work short-term, but we can't protect the entire frontier with 20 ships. We'd be stretched too thin. Option 3 is the most dangerous but also the most effective. If we go public, we put pressure on the Galactic Union to act, but we also expose ourselves to potential retaliation. Captain Yuki Tanaka, commander of the frigate Tempest, leaned forward. My family lost everything during the betrayal. My grandmother watched her home burn while the galaxy applauded. I spent my entire life believing we were right to isolate ourselves. But after seeing those Velkari civilians today, after watching their children cry with relief that someone finally came to help them, I realized something. The galaxy didn't defeat us. We defeated ourselves by letting bitterness make us into something we're not. We're defenders. That's who humans are. Maybe it's time we reminded everyone of that. Other officers voiced their opinions. Some argued for caution, others for action. The debate raged for over an hour until Admiral Cross raised her hand for silence. I've been listening to your arguments, and I've been thinking about a conversation I had with my grandfather before he died, Cross said. He was a Marine during the betrayal. He fought on 3 worlds trying to save civilians before the evacuation. He told me that the worst thing about what happened wasn't the violence or the loss. It was the betrayal of our own values. He said humanity had always stood for something bigger than ourselves, and when we withdrew, we let them take that from us too. We let them make us afraid. Cross looked at each officer in turn. I'm authorizing option 3. We go public. We expose the Torgathi plot. We protect the frontier colonies, and if the Galactic Union has a problem with it, they can come talk to us. But we do this smart. We gather evidence. We build alliances with the frontier species. We show the galaxy that humanity hasn't changed. We're still the people who protect the innocent, and we make damn sure that anyone who threatens civilians understands there will be consequences. Chen felt something lift from his chest, a weight he hadn't realized he was carrying. Admiral, we'll need more ships. 20 vessels can't patrol the entire frontier. You'll have them, Captain. I'm authorizing the deployment of the 2nd and 3rd Vanguard fleets, 60 ships total. That should be enough to make a difference. I'm also authorizing you to make contact with frontier governments. Build coalitions. Find allies. Show them that humanity remembers how to be friends, not just warriors. The message to the galaxy 3 days later. Commander Sela stood beside Captain Chen aboard the Indomitable as they prepared to broadcast a message to the entire galaxy. Human technicians had tapped into the Galactic Union's communication networks, ensuring the message would reach every inhabited world. There would be no ignoring this. Chen had asked Sela to speak first. She understood why. The galaxy needed to hear from one of their own, someone who could testify to what humanity had become during their isolation. The communication officer signaled that they were live. Trillions of beings across thousands of worlds would see this broadcast. Sela took a deep breath and began. My name is Commander Sela of the Velkari Confederation. 3 days ago, my mining colony was attacked by Kryn raiders. We sent distress calls to the Galactic Union, but help was too far away. In desperation, we broadcast on the old emergency frequencies, the channels humanity established during the Protection era. We did not believe anyone would answer. We were wrong. The display behind her showed footage of the Vanguard fleet arriving at Tharsis 7, of the battle against the Kryn, of human doctors treating Velkari wounded. Humanity answered our call. They saved 3,000 civilians. They asked for nothing in return, and they showed me evidence of a conspiracy that threatens every frontier colony in the galaxy. The Torgathi Empire has been sponsoring pirate raids, clearing the frontier for their own expansion. The Galactic Union has failed to protect us, but humanity has not. Sela stepped aside and Captain Chen moved forward. He wore his full dress uniform, the medals on his chest representing centuries of service to humanity's defense. When he spoke, his voice carried the authority of someone who had earned the right to be heard. People of the galaxy, I am Captain Marcus Chen of the Terran Defense Force. 300 years ago, humanity withdrew from galactic affairs after being betrayed by those we had died to protect. We sealed our borders and focused on our own survival. We believed the galaxy had made its choice about us, and we respected that choice by leaving. But we never stopped watching. We never stopped listening. And when we heard civilians crying for help, we remembered who we used to be. The display behind Chen changed, showing the evidence of the Torgathi conspiracy. Bank records, communication intercepts, tactical analyses. Everything laid out in clear, undeniable detail. Humanity is officially announcing our return to the galactic community. But we're not returning as conquerors or as servants. We're returning as equals, and as protectors of those who cannot protect themselves. To the frontier colonies, we offer our assistance and friendship. To the pirates and raiders who prey on the innocent, we offer a warning. Humanity is back, and we have not forgotten how to fight. To the Torgathi Empire, we offer a choice. End your conspiracy, face justice for your crimes, or face us. And to the Galactic Union, we offer a challenge. Prove that you deserve the trust of the species you claim to protect. Because if you won't, we will. Chen paused, letting his words sink in. 300 years ago, you taught us that trust must be earned. We learned that lesson well. Now it's time for the galaxy to learn the same lesson. Humanity is back. And this time we're not leaving. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, trillions of beings processed what they had just seen. The species they thought was extinct had returned. The Deathworlders were back. And everything was about to change. Sela looked at Chen. What happens now? Chen smiled, though his eyes remained serious. Now we find out if the galaxy has learned anything in the past 3 centuries. And if they haven't, we teach them. The hard way, if necessary. The Indomitable's engines hummed with power as the Vanguard fleet prepared to jump to the next colony that needed protection. Humanity had returned to the stars. And they would not be ignored again.